Hey, welcome back to the Vikings Playbook Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Hoikkala, and I got a jam-packed show for you today. I have a lot in store, and I'm excited to jump into it as well, too. So today on the Vikings Playbook Podcast, I'll be talking with Brevin Bain, who's going to come on. He is not only the Social Network pod guy, but he also writes for Heavy.com, and also he writes with me at purpleptsd.com. So it'll be awesome to have him on. We're going to talk a little bit about the Vikings Addison update and what to do there and what the Vikings do going forward. We'll talk about this defense. Is it still a top 10 defense? And, we're going to talk about the center a little bit in 2026, what that looks like. And we'll talk about some top priorities maybe in the draft. We're going to do a mock mania with you, the fan. So we're actually going to have somebody come on. We'll talk a little bit about myself and Brev and our mocks and what we're projecting, but we're going to talk about, what you, the fans, want to see as well too. So we're going to jump into all that. And on top of it, we also have an additional special guest that I'll bring in. But before I do that, I also want to talk about another thing I want you to check out is our fantasy football website that I run with a couple other people as well too, and that's the Fantasy 15 fantasy football website. That's fantasy15football.com. Go ahead and check it out. Not only will we have a 2026 full draft kit laid out there for you, we also have our fan chat. Our Fantasy 15 fan chat allows you to communicate with other fantasy football owners, bounce ideas off them. Also, you could bounce, sit, trade, start ideas, not just off ourselves, the expert, but other individuals, and maybe start leagues with some other fantasy football fanatics. Very awesome stuff that's going to be coming out there. We're working on a ranking system for our website as well too. So go check it out, fantasy15football.com. We'll be ramping up as it gets closer to the 2026 season. So definitely go check that out. Another thing I want to mention, like I said, both Brev and I write for purpleptsd.com. So make sure that you go check it out. purpleptsd.com. We got great writers there, always giving you more purple information every day. So go check us out there too. And again, Brevin Bain, he is coming on with me today. So go check him out on X, Brevin Bain, at Vikes Now, and at Social Network. Go check him out, Brevin Bain. With no further ado, I'm going to welcome him onto the stage. Brev, how we doing today?
I'm doing great. They say the light shine the brightest on Saturday night, so you already know I got the signature shades on. Fired up. Busy time of year with the draft coming up, so lot to talk about.
And we talked about it right before we jumped on, bringing the outside influence on here too. I'm going to have Mark that's going to be joining us here in just a second with M&M Sports Card Trading. But, he's going to bring a little bit of outside perspective. He's not a Vikings fan, but he can give us some perspective with whether it be our black shades or our purple shades that we like to wear. He's going to give us some outside perspective. Now, those of you guys that are out there watching, that are in the comments, hey, make sure that you're going ahead. And if you're not already following us on X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, please make sure that you're doing that at Vikings Playbook, at Viking Playbook on YouTube. And then, as always, Skull Mafia, thanks for joining us. All right. Hey, Albany Firebirds versus the Minnesota Monsters. All right. Awesome. Thanks for joining us as well, Skull Mafia. If you guys have questions throughout this, whether it be for Mark, who's coming up, or Brev or I, make sure that you throw that in the comments. Like I said, we'll try to answer your questions throughout the show, but ask them away on YouTube or X. We'll try to answer them best we possibly can. Now, Brev, we got a loaded show, but the first thing I want to do before we get into our topics is I want to welcome Mark on here, who's going to come on with us for a little bit as well, too, and some to check out. If you guys haven't already, what I'm going to bring up is Mark is with M&M Jersey Breaks. So M&M, I'm going to bring Mark on, but you can find him on Whatnot. You can bid, buy, and win. He's going to talk about the jerseys, cards, and autographed helmets that he is selling on Whatnot. Kind of cool and kind of something that I also have enjoyed here recently. And I'm maybe procuring some possible giveaways in the future for my followers and trying to reward you guys for following and supporting the pod throughout the football season coming up here in 2026. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring Mark on with us as well too, and let me just fix this.
Mark.
Thank you. How you guys doing? Hi, Steve. Hi, Brev. How's your day going?
Great. I mean, honestly, I whenever I can talk football with other sports fanatics and fans out there, I think it's a fun day, especially when I get the opportunity to hang out with Brev and talk football. It's always going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And then, bringing you on, it's something that, I haven't done before, but bringing an individual on that sells, whether it be jerseys, football cards, and autographed helmets, which I kind of stumbled into this over this last week. And what I found just absolutely fascinating is I don't have to go to a card store. I don't have to go to memorabilia or I don't know what you want to call it, symposium or whatever. I can just go onto my cell phone and I can go find Whatnot, and I can find you, Mark. I can find you and your dad. And you guys run it's a family owned, you and your dad are going and running this on your sports card trading channel that you guys have. And please just tell us a little bit about what you guys do on your guys' channel. And, as sports fans, I'm intrigued because I'm able to acquire and have acquired some really cool jerseys, helmets through you, and jerseys that's very cool. And some of them that may end up in the hands of some of our followers.
Yeah, it's awesome. I appreciate it, like you bringing me on here. A little bit about it, man, is like about a year ago I just started collecting cards, got into the hobby back again, and then as I got going through the Whatnot, I started seeing people selling jerseys, helmets, and I kind of got interested and found out that you can go online and buy some mystery boxes. So me and my dad got together and said, maybe this could be a cool thing to give to people, like you said, not going to the sports shows or going to wherever to get your jerseys, So we just buy our mystery boxes, and then we give you guys a chance to bid on a team. If you don't want to spend $100, $200, $300 on a signed jersey, you can spend 10, 20, 30 bucks and get a chance to pull some really nice jerseys, man. Today, you pulled some great jerseys. You pulled some great helmets. We were given, you saw what came out, Warren Moon on a Hall of Fame helmet. Johnny Manziel in the Browns.
Now, you guys, I can't wait. And I wish Mark had this with, and I can't wait to get this in the mail. But I got this amazing Warren Moon. Now it's an Oilers one, which kind of makes it cooler. I know with the the Vikings thing, so there's a little bit of a connection there too. But this is an amazing Warren Moon signed helmet. And the Johnny Manziel one that was pulled today, which I'm getting, I'm starting to get a little bit in a better mood about missing out on that Johnny Manziel. But this was sweet Johnny Manziel. There's just awesome breaks. So with these, what they do, and this is me as a customer, when I went to Mark's channel with him and his dad, is I'm able to bid on card packs that he has, and if I win that, I get to pick a team, one of the 32 teams, or a 33rd, which is the NCAA. I get to pick my spot. And what he did today, at least when I was on there, is depending on the format, he was doing 2 or 3 different mystery boxes, whether it be autographed helmets or jerseys. And if my team that I selected off of the bid that I won, if that is opened, which is open right there in front of me, which is also kind of exciting as well too, I get to keep that jersey or helmet. And it's kind of an exciting thing to be able to do. And it's awesome. Talk more about it, Mark.
It is, man. For Mark, by the way, is everybody needs to go onto Whatnot, hit the follow button as I'm doing on Mark right now. You'll see 331 sales, not a single review below 5 stars. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy's giving you good service. Go follow Mark.
And Mark, you and your dad just started, right?
So we started, I want to say about, I had a channel about 5 weeks ago. We started a new channel. I was M&M Jersey Breaks, but I traded it over to Sports Trading Cards. But we've been going about 3 weeks now. Like he said, you see all 5-star reviews. You get what you see. So I'm going to send you a pack of cards. Even if you don't hit, you're always going to get something. And then, like you said, you hit a jersey, you hit a mini helmet, that's yours. It doesn't matter. Like I said, you spend $10, you spend $5. Spots were going, what? You got a spot today for $1. And you were hitting all day, man. So you can get a Warren Moon for $1. I got some good jerseys I can show you in a minute. It's really fun. It's exciting. You have bidders that bid against each other. It's fun. And then, we do buyers giveaways. We do giveaways all the time. I mean, I was giving away autographed jerseys all day today. You saw that.
And I did a jersey swap.
Yeah, we swapped jerseys right on stream. You wanted one of mine and I wanted one of yours. And I got a Dallas Clark and you got
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, yeah.
I got a Minnesota Vikings signed Aaron Jones jersey doing a swap just with Mark.
Our first stream, we pulled a Michael Irving mini helmet, man. That was a great hit. Last stream, we had, not the last one, but the week before, we had Vince Papali on the Vikings with the Invincible inscription on it. Many different players, current, former. I got an Ocho Cinco I can show you guys that I got. Travion Henderson. All these good names that Michael Vick, they're all in there. Everybody's in there. And like I said, cheap spots, You get a givey no matter what. If I throw cards up there, you can win a givey, buyer's givey, you get the highest, bids in, you're going to get something no matter what. Even if it's a card, a jersey, mini helmet, it's fun. It keeps the energy going, especially for like collectors like you and me and Brev, It's just, you want a little piece of history, you want a little piece of memorabilia, you can get it, man. You don't have to go and spend hundreds of dollars.
What was the Hall of Fame helmet I hit on today? Was that Randy White?
Randy White, yeah.
I hit a Pro Football Hall of Fame helmet, signed autograph Randy White.
Yeah. We've hit an Earl Campbell Hall of Fame helmet. I hit a Myles Garrett I got right next to me. That's my boy. I'm glad I hit that one. So many good names are being pulled today. There was like a couple, mid-sized people, but still, like you said, you get great deals and you get great jerseys, something that you can hang up, give away, resell, whatever you want to do with it, man. It's the fun of the hobby. It keeps the hobby going, gets people into it,
Very cool, Brav. Now, this wasn't all on Mark's channel, but I mean, on some of these jerseys that I pulled a Dante Culpepper.
Yeah.
A signed Dante, which, I was celebrating.
Yeah.
But then I pulled a couple of Ron Uris. And yeah, right.
I pulled a Devin Hester today on somebody else's stream.
And
that was in a regular box. That wasn't even in a gold box.
From an ex high school girlfriend, I pulled this Kirk Cousins away jersey as a gift. We can just throw that away or use that as trash to anybody that wants it.
I pulled a Rudy Rudiger today.
That was pretty sweet. I was in that stream. That was great. Yeah, you see what you can get. College, Rudy, anything is out there. You can even pull a Pat Mahomes from these boxes, man. Spend $50, you get a Pat Mahomes. Like, who wouldn't be thrilled for that? Especially when he's signing for $1,200 or up. He's the Tom Brady right now.
I hit a Baker Mayfield yesterday.
Baker Mayfield, he's a great player, man. Great player. Wasn't as good on the Browns as he is on Tampa Bay, but solid player.
So this is cool stuff, doing this with your dad. I'm sure, you and your dad are getting a little bit closer, some bonding from doing this too, but you have some of the, not all that stuff with you, but you had some other cool items that you have right there in that room with you that you were going to show us as well too.
Yep. I hit this the other day, a couple weeks ago. I hit this Myles Garrett, mini helmet signed. I threw it in a case. The other day I hit a Calvin Ridley on the Titans. Right there, signed. It's all authenticated too. Beckett, JSA, PSA. I got a Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, come on. What else I got? I got a Billy White Shoes Johnson.
Oh, wow.
No, that's old. Look at that Oilers jersey. You can hit that. You pick the Titans, you get two teams. I got a Mike Singletary, one of my favorite jerseys.
You can't win with them.
You can't. No. You got Ocho Cinco, baby. Ocho Cinco. Chad Johnson, man. And even I got the Travion Henderson. Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl. How can you lose on these deals, man? I even got some baseball jerseys. I know this is football, but we do baseball. I got a Sammy Sosa the other day. A Sammy Sosa out of a $20 break, brother. You can't go wrong with these. You just can't. I got Myles Garrett on the back wall. Show that back there. Those are all jerseys I won from the boxes. David Njoku, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I got some Jamison Williams, DeAndre Swift. You can't lose out on these breaks, man. You pick your team, you get a break, it's yours, man. You win it, it's all yours, brother. Like you said with my dad, yeah, we've gotten real close, doing this stuff. It's fun. Go over there on Saturdays, shoot it up with guys like you, talk through the chat, It's fun, you saw the energy today. We just keep it fun so you guys can have fun. Like I said, I give away giveies, give you cool cards, giving away a PSA today. Just what it's all about, man. It's about keeping the hobby, going,
Skull Mafia says you could throw that J-Mo jersey out.
I can't, man. That's one of my teams.
So
that's one of my teams.
Hey, awesome things that they're doing over at M&M Jersey Breaks. All right. You can find them on Whatnot. Like Brev said, you can go on the app if you already have it now. If not, download it, check it out. Really cool stuff, especially if you're somebody who likes that memorabilia type stuff, autographed helmets, jersey cards, but you just, don't think that you have the access to get this stuff. Once you buy it and stuff like that, Mike is going to go ahead and he's going to package it up and he's going to ship it right to your house.
Yep. So one day, man, we do our shows on Saturday. I pack everything up on Sunday and it's out for you on Monday. Everything that I shipped last week has already been to the people and it's only been a week. Got it right there fast.
So you can see it on the ticker and you can see it on the screen. Go ahead and check out M&M Sports Card Trading. You can search that on Whatnot. They're family owned. They do jersey breaks, helmets. You're able to get cards out of there too. Go ahead and check that out. And like I said, if you want to, that's totally up to you, Mark. If you want to hang out with Brev and I for a little bit and talk some Vikings football and give us a little bit of insight. Now, you said one of your teams. So one of your teams is the Lions.
Yes,
who
sir.
are you a football fan of?
Lions and the Brownies, man.
Okay.
Yikes.
More of the Brownies, not going to lie. Lions have always let me down every single year. So
I was going to say Lions and Browns. That must have been rough there for a while.
Right.
It was. It is, man. But I like Baker. He brought up Baker earlier. I'm an Ohio State fan too. So when he planted the flag on us, kind of showed that he had some, heart into the game. So that just made me like him. He went to the Browns.
Get in the chat, Kinetic. We got an Ohio State fan. I don't see Kinetic in here.
Myles Garrett, great player. Mason Graham, everybody. They're just great players. It's a great team to me, but like you said, it's bad when they don't be winning, man. Yeah.
All right. So, Mark, I think we'll keep you on for a little bit here, but I think that we're going to bring on Connect because Connect's a Vikings fan here too. So I definitely want to make sure that I bring in Kinetic so he can get in on some of these topics. But actually, I think, let's just go ahead and jump into this first topic here. We'll keep you on here for a couple of these before we bring on Kinetic here soon. Kinetic, if you're not already, be ready here in the next 20 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes. If you can go ahead and
I will send him the link.
Join through the link. We're going to go ahead and bring you on. All right, so let's jump into this first topic. So the Vikes, they approve Addison's 5th year, and that's great. I think that's something that we thought that the Vikings were going to do. I know there was a little bit of talk, and I think that was just people throwing out random stuff about trading Addison out there from the 49ers. But, it could have been a possibility. But what did they do now going into this season and into that final year? Because obviously Addison's going to want to get paid. He's going to want he's hopefully, I think we all hope he's going to have a much better year than he did last year with poor quarterback play. But, he's going to want to get paid. He's probably going to want something around the 30s. Are we going to be able to pay him? Are we going to pay him? And should we? Or do we trade him? What do you think, Brev?
Yeah, so on the surface level, it's like, do you want to keep Jordan Addison long term? Yeah, of course I want to keep him. But then you think of it more from a team building aspect, and you've got him under control this year and next year. But after next year, that money increases a lot, and you're already paying Justin Jefferson, rightfully so, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So Jordan Addison by that time should be, just with the way that the market is, if you take into account whatever inflation of the next couple years that these contracts get on a yearly basis, Addison, which he'll probably be signing a new contract next year, next offseason if he does, obviously, you're looking at high 20s, maybe even into the 30s is what he's going to demand. So do you want to be paying a wide receiver room $65 million a year for the next couple of years? I don't know, especially once you figure in that you've got to pay Kyler Murray after this year if he plays well. If JJ McCarthy turns it around, he plays well, you've got to make a decision on his 5th year next offseason, then you'll have to pay him. So from a team standpoint, I would explore a trade. Like, of course, I want to keep the kid. He's a good wide receiver.
Right.
But I think probably next offseason you start exploring those waters with the trade.
And I think even possibly mid-season before the trade deadline, depending on how the Vikings are doing,
Yeah.
we could see an Addison trade as well. And when I take a look at Jordan Addison, I see a lot of talent. I absolutely do. And like you talked about with the money, is it going to be worth it? You talked about how you're an Ohio fan. I don't know if that you said Browns, but if we take a look at the other team in Ohio with the Cincinnati Bengals, Mark, we've kind of seen how, Higgins and paying Chase, how that's kind of hurt the rest of the team, whether that be trying to invest in the trenches, whether that be keeping Trey Hendrickson and paying him, or having a good offensive line, being able to protect Joe Burrow, or even just a defense that's able to stop anybody. So they have, a really great offense. But if you can't stop anybody, we've seen with the Bengals, you're going to have difficulties.
Yeah, and not only that though, with Addison, he's very injury prone with the Achilles injury. Keeps having these Achilles problems. Not only that, how long is it going to last? You got to think about it in that way too. Like you said, it's going to get into the high 20s, low 30s. It's like, do you want to spend that on somebody that's out for a couple weeks in the beginning of the season or the end of the season? I mean, Achilles injuries, those are really bad, man. You even see it in basketball. It's not a great injury to have, but like Brev said, he's a great wide receiver. It's just, can he fulfill what you guys need? Like you said, we got Justin Jefferson on the other side. He's worth the money. You got JJ now. Is JJ going to be able to keep up with it? How's your guys' line even doing? So you got to look at all those aspects, just like you said with the Bengals, with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, we don't have a line, their coaching isn't that great either. So it's like, there's a lot of fundamentals that have to go in it just besides him being a great player. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And, Kinetic, I just brought that up on the screen. He doesn't want to be the Bengals. And I think a lot of people share that very same feeling and thoughts to where we don't want to be that team that can't afford to put some building blocks in other areas and be an incomplete team that's not balanced. Now, when I take a look at this Vikings team and their decision to keep Jordan Addison for a 5th year, I think that was the right decision. He missed 3 games last year just to start the year, and who knows what happened in Dublin. But with poor quarterback play, he didn't have the stats to really demand a huge payday. And at the same time, for the Vikings, it makes sense because Kevin O'Connell wants to make the playoffs. He wants to, he's on the hot seat. He wants to be able to. We're making a run this year, right? We're gonna make a little bit of a run. He wants to make it to the playoffs, maybe even get a win or more. But that's really a goal of this team. And with Jordan Addison, he has the ability to raise his stock for a bigger payday, and the Vikings have the ability to raise his stock for a bigger payday on the trade. So if we are going to trade him instead of paying him, this also benefits us for him to have a better season in 2026. Brev?
Yeah, the Vikings are just in this weird spot with win now, but also trying to develop a quarterback, but not really because you just signed Kyler Murray as a de facto insurance policy, but also probably, I mean, we can all read the writing on the wall. He's going to be the starter in 2026, most likely. It's a weird spot for sure. And I would be curious because when you're talking about a trade, like automatically your mind goes to, well, okay, what's the trade going to be for? There's been a lot of talk that maybe the Vikings could get a second round pick out of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be more like the George Pickens thing. And I've actually had a lot of debates on Twitter about this, about the George Pickens trade versus what Jordan Addison got. I'm long time on the record. I was such a big George Pickens guy when he was in the draft process and even obviously his collegiate career. But I've thought George Pickens was better than Jordan Addison before George Pickens' breakout last year in his first year in Dallas. So if you're getting the George Pickens trade, I think that's fair. I think a second round pick is a little rich for Jordan Addison, although it's not out of the realm of possibility. But you look at Pickens, I think he's more talented. His off the field issues aren't getting arrested every offseason. He's kind of a menace in the locker room. Doesn't have the best attitude. With Jordan Addison, it's literally legal issues. Like he averages an arrest in the offseason. So when you put all that together, I think he gets just as much or maybe even a little bit less what the Steelers got for Pickens.
I agree with that.
I do too.
All right. So when we take a look at our next topic, and I don't know if this is going to be a shocker come draft day, but the Jonathan Grenard story, I've been on the boat that I don't think the Vikings wanted to get rid of him in the first place until the whole contract, I want to get paid more thing came up, which kind of created an issue. Now he's getting paid on average. He's the 21st highest defensive end. He should be paid higher than that. Andrew Van Ginkel is getting paid as the 15th highest. Andrew Van Ginkel is turning 31 here coming up, and Jonathan Grenard's only 28, had the 7th highest pressure rate in the league. Jonathan Grenard is an absolute stud. He just was struggling to finish last year. Now he's trying to get over an injury with only having 3 sacks. I don't agree with him trying to say, hey, I want a huge payday and I want to get paid to the extent of what more than Trey Hendrickson is making. I don't think you can do that in a year where, at least with the main pass rushing stat of sacks and missing and games due to injury, and you're still trying to come back asking for that huge pay raise when you have 2 years left on your contract. I mean, I'm not opposed to giving him a small bump, but asking for that huge bump when you just, didn't finish and you got hurt, I just can't see the justification in that. Now, do I think he's going to ball out this year if he stays healthy and have a better year? Yeah, I do. I think, there's no way he has another season like that where he's unable to finish with as many attempts as he had this last year. But it's going to come down to cap room as well, too. If, I don't think he's the type of guy that's going to hold out, but, Brev, could we see a scenario where the Vikings decide to do a draft day trade with him, even though Van Ginkel's 31 and is the older individual that maybe if you were going to trade somebody, and even though I love Van Ginkel, wouldn't Van Ginkel make more sense to be the individual that's traded at this point and keeping Grenard? That may be super unpopular because I love Van Ginkel. Everyone loves the Gink 6, right?
Yeah.
But Van Ginkel's had trouble staying healthy here this last season, so he's turning 31. Would it be more beneficial for the Vikings to pay Grenard, who's only 28 in his prime, and get what they can for a 31 aging Andrew Van Ginkel that has started to have a little bit of injury concerns last year?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, there could be a trade in place for Jonathan Grenard right now. I'm not saying that there is, but theoretically, there could be a deal that's agreed upon, and They're just waiting to see if Minnesota will actually give the pay bump. Again, not saying that's what's happening, but theoretically. With Grenard, I'm in the same boat where like I don't really want to trade him, and it goes back to win now. It feels like a win now year for Kevin O'Connell to save his job. Like you have Dallas Turner waiting in the wings, your 2024 first round pick that you traded a lot of valuable draft capital to get back up and trade for and draft. But I'm a little not as high on Dallas Turner right now from what we've seen as some fans, because some fans are like, oh, 8.5 sacks or whatever he had last year, but like 3.5 of them, he was just coming in free. I like Dallas Turner. He's somebody I predicted before it ever became clear that we were going to draft him, which it wasn't until the minute, honestly, till we drafted him or the minute before where the Vikings traded up. I thought he was going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year in his rookie year, no matter where he went. So I'm high on Turner, but with Grenard, people really overblow the lack of sacks because for me, edge rushing, it's not all about sacks. I mean, sacks are great. It's all about pressure rate. Are you creating pressure in the backfield? Are you opening up the backfield for somebody else to be able to get in? And Grenard does that, and I value that a lot. But it could totally be something where it's a draft day trade, and his trade value is weird too. I mean, he's another guy, I think, like maybe since he's an edge rusher in his prime, those are a little bit more hard to come by than receivers. But I would think in the second round, maybe you could get a second rounder for him if you threw like a late round pick back, but because that team has to give him a hefty pay bump. And to be clear, I think he is kind of worth at least a decent pay bump, in my opinion.
No, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just disagreeing with the type of pay bump he's asking for.
Sure.
Like a Jalen Phillips type, $30 million a year, going from 19 to 30 million after you only played 12 games. You're injured and you only had 3 sacks. That's all I'm saying. Even though you were top 7 in the league in pressure rate, which is really good. That's a really good stat to be that high in. And I think he would have had a lot more sacks. We know he would have had a lot more sacks if he would have finished on some of these plays that he had the quarterback dead to rights. Now, Mark, taking a look at our situation from the outside looking in, what could you see? We got Dallas Turner, who's a budding, he's going into his 3rd year. He showed up with 8 sacks last year, but, is he ready to be a number 1 yet starter with that? And we do have an aging 31-year-old Andrew Van Ginkel, but our biggest problem is if we get rid of Grenard, we have no depth behind him.
No, I agree with that. Van Ginkel with you, he's aging. He's not playing as good as he used to.
Hold on 1 second, Mark. Hey, Kinetic, if you want to go ahead and jump in and get ready, we're going to go ahead and tag you in here pretty soon.
I DM'd you the link, Kinetic, on your Discord, so you should have it.
All right, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
But, with Greenland, he's still young. He had 1 bad season, especially with how, the game is being played now. These quarterbacks are trying to get the ball out of their hands. But like you guys said, he's a great pressure. He puts pressure on the quarterback, so they can get it out fast. Yeah, he only had 3 sacks, but kid's young. He has a lot more game to go. I think Dallas Turner and him, would be good. Get Ginkel out, like you said, he's getting older. His game style is not as it used to be. Get something for him, get a draft pick or something. But I also heard that the Vikings want to get rid of him and Greenland, and they want to get rid of JJ. So could they get something with both of them? Could they get a better trade? Can they get a better draft pick? But looking at it from my thing is, I think you stick with him, teach him up a little bit. And I think he's going to be like he was the first year he was with you guys. He had 12 sacks. He was killing it. It just injuries and stuff. Stuff goes away at that point. You just got to come back. You got to be better than you were,
Yeah. Jonathan Grenard is a stud. He is. And
he is.
And he is in his prime in 28. Andrew Van Ginkel, when he is healthy, Andrew Van Ginkel is a game changer.
Yep.
When he's healthy on the field, he is a problem for a quarterback. Because, honestly, as we've seen with the screens, he's totally messing up plays just by what side of the field he is on where they have to keep an eye on, even just, hey, can we run certain plays because of where he's at? But again, injury concerns, getting older. Can he be that in the next couple of years where Jonathan Grenard still has, 3 to 4 good years ahead of him in his prime? And that's all I'm saying with that.
Yeah.
But I think Kinetic's going to be jumping in here pretty soon. Mark, I do want to thank you for coming on today and talking about, and honestly, I want to thank you for me finding your channel and being able to, do that jersey swap. I'm going to have a brand new Aaron Jones, and I don't know if are we still doing the McDaniel trade?
Yeah, I'm gonna send that to you. Yep, that's gonna be right to you. No trade, it's just yours.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming in today and being very supportive. I appreciate this, bringing me on and getting my name out there.
Yeah.
It's a fun day, man. Like I said, every Saturday we'll run in it. Come in, get a jersey, buy a spot, buy a couple spots. You're gonna go home happy. Once you hit that jersey, especially as a first-time buyer, it's insane because you're like, first off, you can't believe it. And then, like you said, if you hit like a great person like the Warren Moon, it's just even more, it's just, it keeps you into the hobby. It keeps you into sports. And like me, like when I was younger, I got out of sports. I was burnt out on it. I was playing too much. I was in baseball, football, hockey. I was doing it all and I got burnt out. But when I started collecting my stuff again and getting into this, it brings you back in, like, just to have that piece, that piece of memorabilia just keeps it going, man.
Hey fam, I'm going to be honest with you. Through Mark, I won 2 Green Bay Packers signature helmets today. It wasn't my choice, but kind of. But I won a Leroy Butler today and a Randall Cobb signed autographed helmet. So I'm gonna have to
but the
figure out
first team he always took was the Vikings. The Vikings were the first team he always took, and he was the first one buying them.
That's right.
Yep. So I appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate that.
Thank you guys,
Back me up, Mark.
Oh yeah, 100%. I knew it started getting into like a rhythm. I'm like, oh, he's going with the Vikings, first one every time. Vikings. We even had people in the chat. Blake's going with Vikings. Blake's going with Vikings every single time.
All right, well, check out Mark. Again, you can find them on Whatnot, M&M Jersey Breaks. That's M&M Sports Trading Cards. Go ahead and check them out. Jerseys, cards, helmets, autographed. You can bid, buy, and win. So thanks again, Mark. Appreciate you coming on. And, we'll catch you next time. All right?
Thank you, guys, man. Appreciate it. You have a good night.
We'll probably have you on again sometime.
Oh, yeah. Let me know. I'm here, man.
All right. Sorry about that. I think I cut you off a little bit early there. Kinetic, we're going to go ahead and bring you on. Kinetic, how are we doing tonight?
Good, man. How's it going?
Kinetic. Look what I wore for you, Eric.
Hey, I love it, man. Blazing blue. Amazing blue. There we go.
Now, this is my first time meeting you, Eric. So I'm really excited to kind of find out a little bit more about you. Do you do any pods or anything like that yourself? I'm seeing the background that you have there already too. Can you tell us a little bit about your Vikings fandom and what you got going on?
Yeah, sure. So as far as the podcast, I'm not like professional with it. You and Brev are way far ahead of me on what I do. I kind of fell backwards into it a little bit. So I'm a huge college football fan, huge Michigan sports fan. I've got friends that are on the team, so I've always been around that. And I kind of fell backwards into podcasting about a year and a half ago when I became friends with a pretty prominent Michigan Wolverines podcaster who we would just get on playing the college football game when it came out. Not this current one, but the first one that came out. 2024. Yeah.
When it came back. Right.
we would just get on there and be playing that and talking sports. And one day he was like, "You want to come on my show as a co-host?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then so I did it. And then the community kept telling him, bring me back on. So I ended up doing it a weekly show with him once or twice a week for a year and a half. And then I started branching out, doing guest host spots with Voice of College Football and Johnny Olden Jr. And I do a Saturday morning podcast called the AM Scramble with on the Final Whistle Network during the season. We do like a preview of the day of the matchups that day, and then I'm much more new to the Vikings fandom, and so I started branching out into that. I've been on with Vocal Vike a few times. I've been on with Brev on one time when he had one with Vocal Vike, and I've kind of started to like put together my own, but like I don't have a co-host. I don't have anyone to like producing it. I'm not very good at editing yet, so it's very raw right now what I do. But I just do it as a little side hobby.
That's cool. I mean, that's really what I'm doing as well too. Not all of us can do this full time like Brevi's doing right now. But you know what, Eric? After this, I'd love to get more contact info from you, and who knows, maybe we can do this again and bring you on. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and just dive right back in. To more Vikings content and topics. I know you heard us talking a little bit about just some quick thoughts from you. Talking about Addison and Grenard. Do you have any quick thoughts on what we were talking about with the Addison Grenard scenario?
I mean, I'm in a lot of ways I agree with Brev on the Addison thing. I don't hate Addison at all. I think he does some dumb things, but I mean, his problems are not in the locker room. It's all off the field, just decision making stuff off the field. In the locker room, from what I understand, everyone there loves him. On the field, he's great. I don't want to end up being the Nordic Bengals, I don't want to tie up 2 max contracts in the wide receiver room.
If he's asking for 30 plus a year, that's hard to swallow.
And I think that, so like, I was sort of a proponent for trading him early just because I feel like if we wanted to get a second round pick, it would have had to been this offseason before he's in his contract year. I think the value goes down when he's in his final year. Sure. So as far as Grenard, I like Grenard, but I'm really high on Dallas Turner. Right. I don't think that I never thought we'd be able to keep Grenard and Van Ginkel both long term. And if we have to pick one or the other and then slot Dallas Turner into his spot, it would have to be Grenard. So I'd say if he's asking for a big payday bump, knowing the team is kind of strapped on cap this right now, kind of puts us against the wall. We got to try to find something with him.
Should Van Ginkel be getting paid more than Grenard?
Probably. I mean,
should he?
He's harder to replace.
His ceiling, like his playmaking ability, is just so up there. But Grenard is like a better, consistent pass rusher. Yeah. It's a yin and a yang.
He's younger, and this is all I'm saying. I love Van Ginkel when he's healthy. But the concerns I just saw last year, just with the neck stuff, we've seen that a little bit now. Danielle Hunter's doing great now, but we saw how neck issues can maybe linger for a period of time as well too. But he's getting older. He's going to be 31 this season. Yeah. How many more years, ideally, do teams typically keep defensive ends or edges on a team? And he's kind of getting up there in those years where, you're kind of not a starter tier individual here with just his age.
Yeah, I think his skill set gives him a little bit more longevity. I think being able to play off-ball linebacker as well as edge rusher, being able to drop in coverage, that's not something that every edge rusher can do. Now, we've got a very viable option for an eventual replacement in the draft this year, coming from my school, Michigan Wolverines, and Jayshawn Barham. But it's a lot harder to find somebody that has that similar skill set. So on that side of it, yeah, I mean, I think that he probably would command a little bit more of a payday, kind of like I said, Jayshawn Barham or Arvell Reese or somebody like that, because you can move them around in different spots, especially for a defensive coordinator like Brian Flores. I think he is more valuable to the system. But the age is a concern. So I wouldn't mind seeing him get a bump in pay if it is feasible with our cap situation. But I would also start looking for the eventual replacement the same way we did with Dallas Turner, eventually replacing Grenard.
Now, when you talk about picking up someone like Barham in the draft,
Yeah.
and we start getting into whether or not this defense is going to be top 10 into 2026, we have some different holes to fill. So we'll be talking about that in the draft here too. But, you know, we just lost Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen from this defensive line. Is LDR and Terry and Inger Dawkins ready to step up? You know, we're probably going to target interior defensive linemen somewhere, I think, in these first two picks. You know, is there room to get a top tier defensive end as well?
I think there is. I mean, because especially if we trade Grenard, I think it becomes a priority. But I mean, we went from a 4-man edge rotation to a 3-man rotation this last year. And because what was the name of the guy that we had the year before? That was the fourth edge in rotation in 24.
Patrick Jones
Patrick Jones.
So I mean, we didn't really replace him. We just went to a 3-man rotation. So I think that they can make room.
Okay, so the reason why I'm setting this up for you is just I'm setting the stage here. So we talked about Addison, right? We talked about we don't want to pay him. We've also talked about, at least Brev, I know you and I have, is Ty Felton ready? So we also know if we want to get a, you know, possibly a wide receiver 3 that may turn into an eventual wide receiver 2, we probably have to target something like that in the first 3 rounds as well too. You know, whether it's I know you love Malachi Fields, whether it's somebody like that, a Bryce Lance, who may be a project, or someone else, you're going to have to do that in the first 3 rounds. We have also talked about this little ditty. You know, a lot of people like Jadarian Price, Mike Washington Jr. Even if you're going to, because of the picks that we have and we don't have a 4th round pick, if you're going to want Emmett Johnson, who we brought in, you're not going to get him in the 5th round. So in these, you know, so we're talking inside defensive line. We're talking that we need to go ahead and get maybe a running back. We need to get also a wide receiver maybe in those first 3 rounds. Are we still also getting a corner or a safety in those first 3 rounds if we want somebody who could potentially start?
You could, like, the perfect.
And that's all I'm saying. With a defensive end, we could be in the situation, at least in this draft, where we're going to be a little bit light. And let's just say you get rid of Grenard, you're going to pick up an extra, let's say a second, if we're being generous, because we don't know if a team's willing to give that up right now, where we could help to fill that hole. You know, we just have some holes to fill, is all I'm saying. Is, you know, are we still going to be able to fill that need? You know, or is it going to be a couple-year project? And can Van Ginkel stay healthy this year? Because otherwise, you know, we're looking at Tyler Batty, you know, possibly trying to pick up some of that slack. You know, so those are some of the issues that we look like if we see an injury.
As an expert hole filler myself, the Vikings defense is just so, there's no young talent outside of Dallas Turner. So like it's just like, it doesn't even really matter where you go in those first 3 rounds as long as it's mostly defense. Like there's holes everywhere. And with the Brian Flores thing, the pass defense is going to be good. Like if that's just a Brian Flores defense. That's just what it is. So like maybe you can pass on corner and even safety at 18, trade down, or if he's your guy, just go ahead and stick and pick and get like a Caden McDonald, who would be my preferred defensive interior lineman if you're gonna do it. And then you can go like Halsey in the 2nd round, and then maybe spend the 82 on like Jayshon Barham or somebody like that. You still got pick 97. You got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. Just the kicker is not literally the kicker, but you don't You don't pick from pick 97 to 161. So you got to be decisive.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that specifically with wide receiver, I think that there are with I'm not a huge fan of the Ty Felton pick. It's no disrespect to the kid. I think if we're picking a wide receiver, we really need to look at high floor guys that can come in and play wide receiver 3 right away with the eye on moving to wide receiver 2, at least at a at least above average level within a short period of time. I do think that there's a few of those type of wide receivers we can get, like late day 2, early day 3. So depending on how the board falls, I wouldn't panic if we didn't get them in the first, 2 or early 3rd round. Running back, it's so hard, man. Like, I mean, I like Mike Washington a lot. I do like Jadarian Price, but I question whether or not he's a good fit for what we need, because if we're drafting a running back, I think it's clear they're looking for a running back to replace Aaron Jones. And the biggest problem with Jordan Mason is his pass blocking. And the biggest problem with Jadarian Price is his pass blocking. So that's my biggest issue with the Jadarian Price potential pick. But we don't really know if he can't pass block. We just didn't see him pass block because they had Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, he wasn't the starter.
So that's my biggest question about it. So I think running back is kind of a more urgent need in the earlier rounds, but we really have to watch the available wide receivers as the draft goes on.
Sure.
And I think that is DeAndre Hopkins still off the table? Or is he still available?
He's still available. So is this defense a top 10 defense as it is right now? I'll ask both of you guys, Brev and Eric. Brev, do you think it's a top 10 defense right now, or, do we have to wait and see to see what we do in the draft?
Somehow, some way, yeah, because that's just Brian Flores. I mean, he took a corner room of Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, and Jeff Okudah / Fabian Moreau, with Fabian Moreau arguably being the best corner. Something I said all year and planted my flag on, by the way. I think Fabian Moreau is the best cornerback on the Vikings last year. He made that into the best pass defense in the NFL in terms of yards per game, yards per pass, everything. So I struggle to see where, when you're switching out Okudah / Moreau for James Pierre, who's another sneaky pickup that I predicted and I'm still very proud of because I'm riding that high. I just don't see a world where it's not, because you haven't lost anybody. I think Harrison Smith is coming back, honestly.
I think he is too.
So, if you trade Grenard, it's a little bit different of a story. You lost Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, but did you lose anything with that compared to relative to their performance last year? I think they're still top 10.
Viking Gaming, thanks for joining us. He says LDR is decent. I think he can develop. I agree with that too. And I think LDR and Terry and Ingram Dawkins are going to get some really important snaps this year, obviously, because of the depth that we have with losing Hargrave and Allen. But so I can definitely agree with that. Eric, do you think this defense is top 10, or do you agree with Brev, or anything to add to that?
I think when your defensive coordinator is Brian Flores, you can never take that off the table, because we've seen him take defenses that you look at it on paper and I mean, there's no way you would pencil them in as a top 10 defense, preseason, but somehow he does it. His first couple years he came in, they weren't even his guys, and he was able to make it work at a high level. So, if I had to put money on it, I would say he'll probably find a way to make it that way. But the defense, as good as it is, to me, it always feels so fragile. We went into last year with 4 cornerbacks on the roster. The safety room was injured to start the season. 3 edges.
We lost Okudah right away.
Lost Okudah right away.
Oh no,
three edges in rotation. Very thin at linebacker. The only position we really had any depth at was defensive tackle. And it just feels so fragile. It feels like we're always 2 injuries away from not being able to field the defense.
Mm-hmm. And Elijah Williams might step up this year. I really like what I saw from him last year. You know, like a Jalen Redmond, he may take a huge leap. Now, I mean, we saw Jalen Redmond just take a gigantic leap from the year prior to last year, from 2024 to 2025. You know, and we saw some really bright spots from Elijah Williams in 2025. You know, maybe he makes a huge jump here this next year, and that would be an amazing thing to see.
Yeah. I mean, Redmond arguably was the best defensive tackle on the team last year.
Yeah, I don't think it was close. I think you're right.
Absolutely. Between him and Eric, I think our linebacker, I think that those were the two.
Eric Wilson.
Eric Wilson, yeah, they were the two biggest stars and impacts maybe on this entire team.
But with how old the defense is, like, how long are we going to keep getting these great seasons out of these, you know, aging veterans? And this is, like, I think one of the biggest problems kind of on both sides of the ball. The defense and the offense to an extent, there's such complex schemes that they've shown that they don't really like heavily rotating young players. Because they are such complex schemes, and so it's almost like a product of the design that we're such an old team.
That's where we got to hit on our draft picks and stop picking up Jonathan Allens and Javon Hargraves and start hitting in the draft. You know, if we can start doing that and getting younger, like some of these teams like the Seahawks, and hitting on some of those draft picks, you're going to have success, especially in the trenches, like they did. That really helped their team. All right, we're going to move on to the NFL draft. We're getting to that piece where I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that Brev and I have taken a look at. And then, Erica, I'd like to actually focus on your draft and doing a live draft with you because, you know, Brev and I have done drafts before with each other. It's always good to see a different opinion, a different way of drafting. So I kind of am hearing some different things that you like and some different players that you like, which is great. But I definitely want to see how it plays out and what kind of decision making you decide to take it compared to what maybe Brev and I have done, some of the mock drafts we've done together. This is just taking a look at some of the thoughts. Now, this is a scenario. Every scenario is different. And the one that I have, I just didn't like who was there. And I elected in this one to actually trade back, grab Peter Woods, get an extra pick, got Janarian Price, Bryce Lance. So I got the receiver. I went and got the safety, kind of like what you were talking about, Eric. I went and got the edge as well in this case, because I know I'm probably going to lose somebody, right? And then I went and picked up my center. I got my corner a little bit later, another safety, because I think we need two safeties in this draft. I went and got Tanner Koziel, big 6'7" tight end, another edge.
I love Koziel.
Yeah, I do too. He's maybe one of my favorite tight ends in the draft. Very highly rated for myself. An experiment with Cole Payton, and then hey, we need some more linebacker depth with Eric Gentry. So that's where I went with it. If you guys haven't, I already talked about it as well earlier. Purple PTSD, go check it out. Brev had now I know we've done before on here, but he did an article with his 1.0. Go check it out on purpleptsd.com. He did a 7th round NFL mock draft on there too. But in talking about some of the individuals that you were interested in with here, you already talked about it as far as trading back. You were interested in doing that as well too, is moving down with like the Jets and picking up, in the scenario that you talked about, Caden McDonald falls, and we were able to pick him up at number 33. And then picking up with another pick with that, coming back and able to still get Brandon Sissy from South Carolina. Do you want to talk a little bit about your 7th-round mock? Don't give away everything, because I do want you guys to go check out Brev's article, but just talk about those 2 picks.
Yeah, I got to feed my non-existent kids, so y'all definitely go read it. We traded down. Like you said, we took McDonald and Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. Getting at pick 33, 34, fun little and we'll glance over this really quick. I completely forgot to make the 82nd pick in this article somehow. So like the 82nd pick just doesn't exist. There's another sport for you. And then I put Malachi Fields in the featured image, and then I didn't even draft Malachi Fields, which would have been the 82nd overall pick. So problems galore there. It's fun going back and looking at your draft because there's things that even since then, and I wrote this 2 weeks ago, that like I now would change just with new knowledge and
and it's always changing, right?
Yeah,
Pro
changing
days and
all the time.
Injuries, yeah, absolutely. Or little things that come out.
But yeah, like if you go read it, my philosophy for the draft for the Vikings is very much the same, where I think most of, if not all, your premium picks should come on the defensive side of the ball. I know Eric will really like pick 234 that I made. I would bet money he's probably going to take him in the live draft that we do with him here in a minute.
Probably earlier than that.
Maybe earlier than that. But yeah, go check it out. Definitely. It's a good look into the philosophy that I think the Vikings should look into there.
Well, Eric, so when we talk about priorities and positions of priority, these are some of the names that we're looking at that have been kind of linked to the Vikings. A lot of different names on here. Doesn't mean that they're great fits for us, but just kind of what we talked about, with the defense, and maybe some of the concerns on the offensive side of the ball. Are there any players that just right off the top of your head or positions that you think are priority for the Vikings?
So for me, I know I understand B-Flow does not apparently does not prioritize cornerback as much as I do. To me, and I've said this for months, I think cornerback is our weakest spot on the defense. Mansour Delane, I've been consistent with this since November. He's my ideal pick. If I could choose one player to fall to 18, realistically, I think he's more realistic than Downs.
Is that ideal for you, Brev?
It's not ideal for my hair at all.
He has to shave his head if Mansour Delay goes to 18.
I would be ecstatic if he fell to 18 until 2 seconds later, where I'm standing in the box in Pittsburgh at the draft, like, oh my God, I have to go on Vikings Playbook and shave my head.
And so if I don't think he's going to fall now. At one point, I thought it was possible, but if he did, he's my instant, like, turn in the card immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outside of that, if to stick and pick at 18, for me, I would want it to be either Jermod McCoy or Dylan Thieneman. If none of those three are available, I'm probably seeing if there's an opportunity to move back into the later first round, and looking at EMW, looking at Caden McDonald. Brev has talked me off the Avion Terrell cliff. Potentially, I would consider Denzel Boston, although I don't know. I'm back and forth on him.
Sure.
If we trade back into the early second round, then looking at Colton Hood or Lee Hunter, but those are like kind of my top guys.
I do like Lee Hunter as well too, but it's hard to like hope that he's going to be there in round 2. And that's where, it's interesting just looking at, the strategy by both, at least in the 2 mock drafts that we looked at so far with Brev and I, we both elected, and it depends on who's there, right? We both elected to trade back and get an inside defensive lineman. And then you also talked about possibly trading back as well too, if, some of those just premier guys that we just think are awesome BPA value at that position that also are positions of need. We're at that weird position at 18 where it might just be better for us to trade back in that position.
And if we get to 18 and there's no trade back options, I wouldn't hate taking EMW or Caden McDonald. I just think it's a little bit of a reach.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, Viking Gaming, one of the guys I love too is Logan Jones. I think you saw that maybe on one of mine. And then you also said Romello Height will jump up and down like a little kid. I mean, those are some of the guys that I like. But again, I mean, this is all scenarios that we just don't know how it's going to work out. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to put Kinetic in that scenario, and we're just going to sit there and sharpshoot you. No,
let's do it.
I just want to, and Brev and I will probably make some little comments afterwards, but really I don't want to. And Brev, I'd like to not influence the way that Eric goes, because honestly, I want to see what you do, and what decisions that you make. Because if Brev and I start influencing you, you may decide to. I want to see after you get done with your entire draft, then we can talk about it. Maybe things that we liked, what we didn't like, or that we have disagreements, because none of the three of us are going to be 100% on every player. We're just not. And then none of us are geniuses to where we know how any of these guys are going to turn out. Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's fun. We have 2 weeks left before the draft.
Yeah.
And, Eric, I'm really, excited that, Brev was able to connect with you and bring you on here, because, I'm hopefully, gonna see if you're able to come on again here in the near future, because I'm already liking the vibe.
Yeah, man. I will say, like,
this is great.
I will say Brev definitely is better than I am at the like diving into film and evaluating players on like an individual player, like one at a time. My feelings, my thoughts on players, a lot of it comes from being a pseudo media member, analyzing the games through the season, doing podcasts and watch alongs and stuff like that. So
sure.
A lot of my stuff is, my opinions are based on what I see on the field, and then kind of the stuff I pick up from guys like Brev and during draft season.
Now, before I knew you were coming on, I was going to have Brev do a 2.0. So this really should say with Eric or Kinetic.
Yeah, everyone knows me by Kinetic, but
So I should have changed it. I just didn't have the time.
You're totally fine.
Before we started here, but let's just imagine that says Eric or Kinetic on there, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and light it up. All right, we're going to remove that. We're going to bring on, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit, just so you can see this maybe a little bit better.
Were we doing the JJ McCarthy trade first, Eric?
No, we are not. We are not doing that.
Now, are you okay going all 7 rounds?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What do I do? Like at least 3 drafts a day.
Yeah.
And are you looking to do any trades before, or you just want to straight up?
I'm still on the bandwagon that I think that it's very likely that we could see a trade for Grenard leading up to or even on draft night. So I'm still kind of riding that line of thought. So if we can, yeah, I'd like to.
Okay. Would you be interested in, depending on how fast this goes, maybe even doing 2?
Yeah, I'm good.
Because I'd like to see how that looks both ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important, because I think, like I said, we only have 4 picks in those first 3 rounds, and we have significant holes where I think we need to hit.
Yeah.
For this team. So, all right, let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. 7 rounds. We're going to enter the draft, and then we're going to make our trades that you're looking to do. Just keep normal settings.
Are we using the PFF big board? Okay.
Yep. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Let's go ahead and go down to trades.
Yeah, so I've kind of I know the talk has been around them with the trade with the Eagles, but I've always kind of liked the idea of the Commanders. I think they need an edge rusher. I think they got Durante. Help me out here.
Durante Jones.
Yes, Durante Jones now on the staff. He's familiar with Grenard. He's familiar with the scheme, how Grenard fits. So I like that as a trade option.
Okay, so they have 771 and 147. Is that going to create issues?
So the trade that I usually start with when I do these mocks is I will and tell me if you think this is too unrealistic. But the reason I look at it like this, 71 is a round 3. It's not a round 2. So I'm looking to see if I can get a round 3 and a round 4, because we don't have a round 4. So the trade that I usually start with is Grenard and our 244, and I see if they'll take 71, 147, and 209.
Okay. Again, I'm just going to shut up because I don't want to influence what you're doing.
Well, no, but I will ask, like, if you think that that's not realistic, tell me, because I'm back and forth on it. Like, I think on a good day we could probably get that, but then I'm kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like Grenard for round 3 and a round 4.
We're going to do one without a Grenard trade as well. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just try it. If it's denied.
Offer trade.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
I do too.
Okay, so accepted. It was not accepted.
Okay, try 235 instead of 244.
It was accepted. Okay,
I know PFF's not always like really accurate with their like trade algorithm, so I try not to take advantage of it.
Okay, so you're good to go ahead and start the draft?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So if you guys have stuff in the chat, I don't see anything right now, but if you guys do have stuff, I'll try to see it. I'm trying to focus and drive for Eric here. So, all right. So we're at pick 18, and we have CJ Allen. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. CJ Allen, Jordan Tyson, Mesidor, McNeil Warren, Avian Terrell, Omar Cooper Jr., Caden McDonald. Available here right now, who just went off the board, is Kenyon Sadiq. And you can see that Jermod McCoy that you talked about, Mansour Delane, are already off the board. Some of those individuals that you said that you did.
Interesting that they had Delane go before Caleb Downs on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Monroe Freeling at 13. Okay, anyway, who are the 2 trade offers there?
Okay, and the 2 trade offers, one of them is with the Falcons, and that's jumping all the way back to 48. The next one's not any better. It's even worse at 56 with the Jaguars.
Yeah, I don't want to go back that far. Go back to the board.
Okay.
Draft a player up right there next to trade. To the left of where it has.
Yep, right here. Sorry, I'm used to doing this on my phone too.
You're good. Scroll down a little bit. All right. I'm just gonna reach and I'm gonna say let's go ahead and get EMW.
Okay. So we're taking Emmanuel McNeil Warren at pick 18. And sorry, I was trying to.
I got burned last time I banked on Halsey going to be there in round 2. So.
Okay, so we picked up a safety in round 1. Lee Hunter just went off the board. That's kind of one of the things that we talked about. Yep. Jacob Rodriguez went off the board as well. Chris Johnson is gone. And what we're seeing on the board is Keith Abney, Caleb Lamoon.
I really like Abney, but I feel like he's mostly going to be a slot corner. And I've been very vocal on that. We need a boundary corner so Murphy can move back into the slot. So I want to stay away from slot corners.
Okay.
Jadarian Price is there.
Now, you did trade away, just so everyone's tracking. We did trade Jonathan Grenard, and we did pick up an additional pick within these first 3 rounds at pick 71.
Who is the next available for trade? If I were to trade back again,
okay.
Who is
So we could trade with the Carolina Panthers, and we can move from 49 to 51.
Okay,
that's a possibility.
What's the next team down from that?
would be the Packers at 52, 53, 55. So a lot of teams are looking to trade up in this position right now.
Can you, on the left there, can you scroll down to the picks that are just after us, and so I can see what their needs are?
Um,
on the left, under round 2, where it shows who's got drafted. Yeah, just down right there. Just scroll down. That part.
Sure. Yep. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're fine. All right. Go back to the board. Let me see who's coming up available. Let's try to trade with the Steelers 53. You said that they're on there. See what picks they have.
Yep.
All right. If we put 49 for 53, see what they'll throw in. We can.
So pretty much the best you can get is 121 and
Try
maybe
that.
135.
Yeah, try that. Try adding our 244 to that. Put 135 back on. See if that helps. All right, that's fine.
Good.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead and go.
Wow.
Brev, I know I don't want you to influence me here, but tell me as a draft analyst, your opinion. Is Mike Washington a better pass blocker than Jadarian Price?
I mean, it's hard to tell how good of a pass blocker Jadarian Price is because we just don't know.
Right.
Because Washington for the size, like if we just want to talk straight facts, not trying to influence, Washington for the size definitely has more upside as a pass blocker for sure.
I took EMW. Okay. See, there's like 3 or 4 wide running backs I like right there. So you know what? I'm gonna say let's go with Dom Orange here, and then I'm gonna hope that one of the running backs are still there at 71. Big citrus. That's one of my guys. Looks like they all got picked right before
Mike Washington Jr. just went to Cleveland.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. It's all right. All right, so we got safety, we got D tackle. Jonah Coleman's still there. Go back to the big board. All right, so we got safety and D tackle, right? Keep going down. Okay. Again, as a just your player and analyst, my specific question here: which center between Sam Hecht and Jake Slaughter has the highest floor to be able to come in and play immediately?
Personally, I think Hecht, but Slaughter would technically be a safer pick to kind of balance that analysis.
Okay. Go down just a little bit more. Let me see who's coming up after them. Okay. All right. Let's go. I think I was leaning towards Heck. Let's go Heck right now, because I think Brandel's going to be okay at center, but I'd still like somebody there in case that experiment doesn't go the way we hope. All right, go down. We're at 82. I don't want to risk him not being there since we missed on Washington, so let me go ahead and get Jonah Coleman.
So we have now drafted McNeil Warren, Dominique Orange, Hecht, and Coleman. We addressed the running back, center, inside defensive tackle, and the safety position.
Yep. Now I'm leaning towards seeing, and Barham just went, of course. Let me see edge rushers and corners, please. Okay. Can you pull up the profile on go down I want to compare Kamara and there was another edge down there. Brev, what can you tell me about these guys? Kamara, there's another edge I want to compare him to.
Genuinely, I don't know a ton about them. I'm not knowledgeable in the edge rushers late.
So on Kamara, what I will say is I think he's undersized and he has shorter arms for the position. So that's my one big ding on Kamara. Now, if you look at his actual stats, and again, this is not playing against NFL talent; it is playing against Big Ten talent. But he does have the ability; he's quick, so he has the ability to produce hurries and possibly get pressure, right? But that's the one thing that I worry about is just with NFL, especially NFL sized tackles with their arms. Just is that speed, and with him being undersized, is that going to be a concern? Because again, he's only 262 and 6'1", so he's got shorter arms. He's a smaller guy when it comes to that position.
Okay.
That's just my take.
No, you're fine. Not Sap. Go down. There was Mason Rieger. What I've heard something about him recently, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
He was on a top 30 visit.
That's what it was. Okay.
And
see, I don't know Mason a whole lot about him.
Yeah, and when you look at Mason Rieger, what I see is at least the athleticism or a body type.
Yeah.
Where maybe he's a little bit more moldable. Yes, he's got to put on maybe a little bit more weight, but if you take a look at his stats, he does have the ability to still provide pressure. He's maybe not as fast. He's a bigger guy, so he's not going to be as fast as like a Kamara is. But he does have some of those bigger, arms, especially when you're trying to, maybe do some of those, defensive pass rush moves. Having some longer arms and being able to move around your opponent.
Can you scroll down on that page right there? Okay. Yeah, you know what? He was on a top 30 visit. I think that that shows that there's something there that B-Flow likes. So I'm going to say let's go with Mason Rieger and get the guy to be the Dallas Turner, with Dallas Turner going into the starting role.
Okay, so now we're picking at 121.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if Demings, is he still there? Cornerback.
Here, that's
he usually is at the spot.
There he is, Charles Demings.
Question is, will he still be there at 135? Go back to the big board. I really like Cage Casey, but I don't know if I like him enough to bank on if Demings isn't going to get picked. Go down. Kilgore's, I think he's going to play more safety than corner in the NFL. Am I wrong on that? In your opinion?
I kind of agree.
Okay. Go down. Yeah, what's is there a trade back option between here and 135?
You got 124, 132, 132.
Yeah, let's see if we can get trade back 132 and just pick up an extra pick later. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, hit one, either 172 or 190. I guess 190. See if they'll do that. All right. Is Deming still there? And it's a little bit of a reach. Yes, he's right at the top of the cornerback board. Let's go ahead and take him.
Fantastic pick, I must say.
Felt like it was a little too much of a reach at 121, but I wasn't sure he's going to still be there at 135. All right, so go to my picks. Let me see what I've already picked again real quick just to refresh my... Okay,
Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Dominique Orange, Sam Hecht, Jonah Coleman, Mason Rieger, and now Charles Demings.
And then on the offensive side, I've gotten a running back and a center. Is that it?
Yep.
What's up, Norsefius? Appreciate you joining us. He says, what's up, Steve, Kinetic?
Norsefius, my guy.
No hi for me?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
oh, and shout out to Knife Visions in the chat, too. He's in one of my CFB online leagues.
Yeah, apparently a huge Roll Tide fan.
Yep. I linked the video in my league Discord a little earlier. So
awesome.
All right, I like Betcher here. Is that how you say it? Betcher? Bocher? I don't know.
I say Betcher.
But let's let me see. Just scroll down a little bit. Let me see who else is here before we click that.
Remember, don't say who you like yet.
Oh yeah, no. Thank you, Norsefius. Wow.
Yeah, I think let's go with Betcher here.
For the record, I didn't say I liked him. I just said how I said his last name.
Well, and I said I liked him before you said anything about him. So
yeah.
All right, so you're now picking at 147, and you still got a total of 6 picks remaining yet.
All right, so on defense, I've gotten a safety, a corner, linebacker, edge. Did I get it? Yeah, I got an edge, right? Yeah, Mason Rieger. And then nose tackle. Offense, I still haven't got. I've gotten one offensive lineman. I haven't gotten a wide receiver or a tight end yet. Pull up wide receivers. Okay, Brev, if I'm the GM making the draft picks here and you're this you're in the scouting department. What is your projection to where he'll play in an offense like Kevin O'Connell's at the NFL level for Kevin Coleman?
I think he would probably play X receiver. I think he's 6'1", 6'2".
So if he came in, you would put him on the boundary and move Addison inside. Then?
Oh, I completely lied. He's 5'11". Yeah, he's definitely more slug. I was thinking about somebody else. I think I might have been thinking about Tyron Montgomery.
So I'm looking between him and Caldwell. I really like Caldwell. But is that that might be too much of a reach from 147. We've got the picks though. I almost kind of want to do 2 wide receivers here. I really like Caldwell. For those that might not know much about Caldwell, what do you think of him?
No comment.
No. I mean, like as an analyst, I like his size. I like his speed. I don't know if I like his hands, but like my opinion on him's already made up. You're not going to influence that.
Okay. If you promise that, I have concerns about his hands, and he cannot stop. Like that clip that got shared in the Discord yesterday. It was Steve Smith said if you asked him to stop on a dime, he'd give you a quarter or some shit. Some stuff. Sorry.
Gotcha. All right, go back out. Let me see the big board. I kind of want to look at another corner, but I know B-Flow's not going to take 2 rookie corners. I like Prysock a lot, though. I don't know. Do you want me to do this to what I think B-Flow is going to do, or you want me to do this to what I want you
to do that what you want?
I'm going to take Prysock then. I like Prysock, and we kind of went late with Deming, so I think hedging that bet's what I would do. Now let me see wide receiver. Hopefully, if Caldwell's still there, I would like to take Caldwell.
Take him?
Yeah, go ahead and take him.
Okay, you now have 4 picks remaining at 190. Here's who just came off the board once I can get down there.
Is our guy Koziel still there? That's what I want to know. Yep. Let's go with Tanner Koziel. I don't want to risk him not being there. That's my tight end in the draft.
Yep. So you've now picked up a corner, a wide receiver, and a tight end after your linebacker.
All right. Scroll down just a little bit. Can you pull up the page for Red Murdoch, that linebacker there from Buffalo? Scroll down right there. Scroll up on it real quick. Okay, see, I'm torn here between getting another offensive weapon that I know Brev likes and Eli Heidenreich, or getting a little bit more depth at linebacker. I know we got Betcher earlier, but correct me if I'm wrong, Murdoch would also be a good special teams guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we need more depth on defense. Man,
this is what you want to do.
I know. I like Heidenreich too. I just question whether, having drafted Coleman and Caldwell, would there still be room to find a place on the offense for Heidenreich? That's my biggest question at this point, because I've already taken a running back and receiver. I don't think they're going to run with more than 3 running backs on the 53-man roster. So is there room in the wide receiver room? And I don't know, with having already drafted one. So I think for that reason, I'm going to go with Red Murdoch because I know he'll contribute on special teams and potentially on defense as well. All right, now I got to go for my guy. I know it's early, but pull up tight end. I am very adamant that we need to replace CJ Ham. And I think the best person to do that is my guy, Max Bredesen. I am so high on this. I think that Vikings fans would love him, his energy, the way that he plays. Anybody that hasn't seen him play, go look up Max Bredesen highlights. Look at how he bullies players on the field. He's a pure blocker. It's incredible. He would be a perfect blocking fullback, H-back hybrid. He can block in line as a tight end. He can block out of the backfield. He's incredible. Don't try to throw him the ball, but he'll block his off.
Okay, you got one more pick remaining at pick 234.
All right, there's two guys I like here. I like to go with Caden Weegan for a punt returner, but I also Micah Morris seems to drop here a lot. I feel kind of dirty taking him here because I don't think he's going to make it to the 7th round. Okay, so how do you usually feel about taking players late that you don't think are actually going to drop? Is it like stay away from it because it's not realistic, or if that's what PFF's showing, take it?
These picks are most likely going to be throwaway anyway, in my opinion. So if you got guys, then just take them.
Yeah, I mean, I think
going to be project guys that are,
I think Micah Morris is insane value at round 7, so I'd probably go with him. But if that's not realistic, because I highly doubt he makes it to round 7, I would go with Caden Weegan. But I mean, Micah Morris, if I can't not take him here.
Okay. I don't know if we have time to do another draft in here. But
sorry, I didn't mean to take it.
No, that's fine. We didn't bring you in here until a little bit later as well. Now, for those of you that are watching this, you cannot take a look at the grades that are given in these positions to heart, because these are given based on who the Vikings currently have on the team. This is also based on who at least the PFF rankings feel you should have taken before that individual player based on positions of need, so that and where they have them ranked. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the grades are accurate, is basically what I want to say. Yep. Based upon this, how do you feel like you did?
I feel like the board fell not the greatest for me. There were 3 or 4 times where the guy I was looking at went off the board a pick or two before our next pick. Having to sort of deal with that, I think I did okay. I mean, I know that I reached on some picks, but I felt like it was hitting the needs and the guys that I think will fit the team and the schemes. So I'm okay with it. I mean, I'd be fine if this is the way we go. The biggest question for me, and I mean, they gave me an F for Rieger. Like I said earlier, I don't know a lot about him, but missing on Barham, I wanted to make sure we got an edge to be that third edge in rotation.
Yeah.
And with them bringing him in on a top 30 visit, I didn't want to miss out on that. So.
Sure. See, I was going to bring this up a little bit earlier as well, too. Sorry. Sam Hecht. So I really like Sam Hecht. I really do. I just wonder, so we're talking about it, and you're trying to think, hey, which one of these guys can come in and start? Do they need to start? So I'm just asking this question I'm a big fan of Blake Brandel getting an opportunity, at least in camp, to show that he can be the starter,
right?
At least for this year. Now, if we draft somebody that early, like Sam Hecht, he's going to be the starter eventually.
Yeah, and Kevin O'Connell
or whatever.
O'Connell himself has said that the Vikings, I mean, it's not really saying much. They're looking at options at center in the draft to come in and compete. So,
well, and so I think I agree with you. I know during the season this last year, because I did a watch along every Sunday with the Vikings game. So like while I was sitting there watching it, I remember commenting multiple times later in the season when Brandell was in at center, saying that, you know, I'm kind of okay with Brandell moving to center for next season. But it's still kind of an experiment, because if he does become the starting center, this is his first season starting at center the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason I was looking at the highest floor to come in and be able to start, not necessarily come in and be the starter, you know, day he sets foot on the field, but just if the experiment fails with Brandell, a guy that we can put in there without having to worry too much about, is he capable? I'm a big Jake Slaughter fan. I just was trying to look at what I thought the need was for the team and the scheme. And it's, you know, if this experiment doesn't work, do we have a guy?
Sure.
So,
and I absolutely think we need to draft a center, you know, and if we draft one, whether it's in the third or not, I don't think that necessarily means that they're going to be ready to start right away. You know, or that they will be better than Blake Brandell having an entire offseason to practice the position, because I don't think he played bad at the position either.
right.
Now, throughout the draft process that you did, you had certain comments like Norrisfius saying Eli is the CMC for the working man. Norrisfius also said Decoy Wright is going to be a steal. He also says disregard PFF, go with your eyes and guts. Bob Swede wants you to pick somebody from NDSU. Norrisfius says Betcher there. Yow.
So let's talk about that for a second, because when draft season started, Betcher was like projected like 7th round by PFF. I always thought that was they were way underselling his potential. But a lot of people, I've had this conversation with quite a few people. They saw that, and now they've kind of got him set as a, you know, 6th, 7th round pick in their mind. I always thought he was better than that. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think that that's a reach to take him there, or was he? Do you think that
I like Betcher?
Mm-hmm. I don't like what is a reach? Like if you do all this research on your guy and he's your guy and you take your guy, then to you it's not a reach. It's just a reach according to Pro Football Focus.
Right.
Now, Norris says he loves your price at Koziel and Orange picks, which I definitely agree with Koziel. Where you got Orange, I think that's the right move in the second round with how everything fell. You know, if you're not going to trade back and go take like a Peter Woods or something like that, or a McDonald, I think that's the way to go. How you did, you know, getting Koziel, how you did with the trading back, and Koziel was still there somehow. It's a risk, because I think like you had to have Koziel at that position. But that part was like, that fell beautifully for you. Now, when we take a look, let me just change this view again. Taking a look at this again.
And I will say, in the first round, not having any options to trade back, it was either reach for McNeil Warren or McDonald. I was looking at.
Yeah, there wasn't any good. Yeah, you're right.
And in my mind, I was saying, okay, if I take EMW, I'm hoping to get Lee Hunter, Daryl Jackson Jr., or Dominique Orange.
Mm-hmm.
If I take Caden McDonald, I would hope to get Halsey. And it's kind of a 50-50. Is Halsey still there at 49?
Yeah, right.
So that's why I went with EMW in the first round, because I figured it would be more likely that I would be able to get one of the 3D tackles in round 2 than be able to get Halsey. Now, Halsey was there in round 2, so there was a little bit of buyer's remorse, but that was my thought process at that point.
I like that you only did 3 trades throughout this draft. I think when you do too many trades, it's, you know, unrealistic. I really liked the fact that you traded back in the second round. how you did to go to 53
Yeah.
and pick up another pick. You didn't sacrifice much, and you still got the guy I think that you wanted anyways.
Yep.
And picked up another good mid-round pick.
A lot of times when I trade back, it's because the guy that I want, I feel like is too much of a reach from where I'm at. So I want to try to trade back just enough to get some extra value and not reach as far.
Sure. Jeff Caldwell. I really like Jeff Caldwell. I think Caldwell has at least the attributes to be a really good red zone threat. Caldwell and Koziel together is insane in the red zone. If you needed to put in, it's one of those, just throw it up and let him go get it. Tanner Koziel is 6'7". Jeff Caldwell 6'5". Jeff Caldwell can also fly. So I'm not going to say the M vibes, but at least down the field, and then also out jumping a quarter or a safety. As long as now he only had 3 drops last year. Whether it's he needs to work on his route running or whatever it is. But for some of these plays, he could be an elite type talent, especially with some of these plays down the field.
Yeah, I really like Caldwell. I like his size, his frame, and I like his athleticism. If the biggest knock that Brev had on him as an analyst on him is that he has trouble stopping. I mean, anybody else remember Mighty Ducks 2 and the kid that couldn't stop?
Yeah.
They can teach that, right? Like I trust that Brian Flores can teach him how to control himself a little bit better on the field. So at that point, or not Brian Flores, sorry, Kevin O'Connell.
I know what you're saying.
But I trust that he can teach him how to shore up that part of his game. And at that point, I'm looking at, okay, if this is the eventual successor to Jordan Addison, I want a guy that can play that opposite boundary from Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, we got Keaton McCardle as a wide receivers coach. I mean, he's going to be able to teach him some of that. That doesn't mean that it's all going to stick. You also got one of the best route runners in the game, in Justin Jefferson, that's going to be able to teach him and kind of show him the ropes as well too. I love Sam Hecht. I think he's probably one of the best setters. One of the knocks I would say is, like, again, I'm a huge Logan Jones fan as well. And I just think with its value, if we decided to do that, I'm not mad at it, because I think Sam Hecht is possibly the top center. So I'm not mad at it by any means. But if you picked Logan Jones at 97, I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah, I think I just missing on Barham, and I feel like the edge class really drops off after that point. And then, like I said, I remember seeing his name, and Brev reminded me that he was on the top 30 visit, and I just didn't want to go too far and end up missing on an edge after trading Grenard. When I took Hecht, I was trying to aim at getting Jonah Coleman and Jayshon Barham. I got Coleman, and then I missed on Barham. But that was kind of my thought process: take center and try to hit on those guys. Got one of 2. So,
Brev, you got any comments?
Well, he knows I love the Charles Demings pick. That's one of the gems of the draft right there. That guy can tie his shoe standing up. His arms are insane. I love the Price Hawk pick. If there's one that, like, I would dislike, and people are going to see that Dominic Orange pick and be like, what? I think he's going to go a lot earlier than what he's consensus mocked. So if he's your guy there, go ahead and take him. If there was one that I disliked, it would be Jonah Coleman, just because I'm not a huge Jonah Coleman fan. Because if Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones are free agents after this year, I assume they'll end up keeping Jordan Mason. Jonah Coleman would be a good pass blocker for sure. Right. But they're still they still wouldn't have that burner in the backfield, and maybe they don't need that. Speed is the most overrated trait in professional sports, to be honest. So maybe they don't value it that much.
Well, and my thought process there, because I agree with you. I that's my biggest issue with Jonah Coleman is that he's too much like Jordan Mason if we're going long term. But missing one pick shy of getting Mike Washington.
Yeah.
And then the only other burner that I off the top of my head that I could remember was maybe Claiborne.
Yeah.
But I feel like as much as I like Claiborne's speed, I think Coleman's more of a complete back. So
Sure.
that's why I opted to go with Coleman there.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
I was trying to hit on getting Washington.
Yeah, I think just because I have my running backs, like my running back big board, I guess you're going to call it, I don't even think I have Jonah Coleman top 5. I think I even have Emmett Johnson above Mike Washington Jr. just because I feel like the floor is much higher with Emmett Johnson, and maybe I'm overvaluing that.
He's not a burner either, though.
He's not, but he's more like where I could see him being better than Mike Washington Jr. Just Emmett Johnson reminds me a little bit of not as good as prime Le'Veon Bell, but just that type of patient runner. Can see the vision's insane.
Yeah, he has that patience to let the holes open up in front of him.
Yeah, that's what I like.
It'll be interesting to see what the Vikings end up doing. I just, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Just one of the things that I just think about, because, we're talking about the Jonah Coleman thing. We all, kind of are intrigued at least by either Mark Washington or Jadarian Price, but you're not going to get them unless you take them around that second pick that we have at 49, but I still like the ability of, let's just say we keep Grenard. I still like the possibility of trading back a few picks, picking up another one. And, I like Peter Woods, or if we go with McDonald, I like picking up that defensive, inside defensive tackle first, because I think we can still get a really good safety a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a bad pick.
No,
that's all I'm saying is just like, if we're not happy with Jonah Coleman, if you know what I'm saying, because if you're saying like, well, we really want a different kind of runner, so if that's the case that people want to make, or if the Vikings decide that they want, they almost have to, because if you miss out on a Dominique Orange and you didn't take Woods or McDonald early in round 1. Man, there's not much left as far as, someone that you think that can maybe be an impact defensive inside guy, after that. I thought you did a pretty good job on this. I was actually really impressed with some of the trades that you did on this, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, if like I said earlier, if there had been if I could have traded back to, 26, 27, 28, I probably would have been looking more to get Caden McDonald, Peter Woods, or even, Lee Hunter. At that point, and then hope that Halsey was there in the second round. I don't like reaching from 18 to take McDonald or Woods. Like if I'm gonna trade back, if I'm gonna take them, I want to be able to trade back and get a little bit more value in round 2 or 3 to go with it.
Sure. Northfield says Washington is a route runner and pass catcher, but Price is the one that he wants. Timothy Slack says, bring the local kid Emmett Johnson home. I think we had a visit set up. I don't know if we already did it with Emmett Johnson or that's coming up. Northfield also, you sent the alert, but YouTube didn't. That's
YouTube's
okay. I
bad
appreciate
about
you.
that.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining us, though, Norris. That's awesome. I always appreciate when you're able to jump on with us. Bob Swede, you as well. I bet Kyler rushes for 500 yards. I agree with that. I think Kyler has, rushed for over 800 yards before in a healthy season. So if he can stay healthy, I think 500 yards is absolutely doable.
I think that's the minimum.
Kyler. If he's healthy. Yeah, absolutely.
How many games do you think he has to play to get more than 500 yards rushing?
12.
Yeah, I was going to say 13. So, yeah.
10 yards is about 50 a game. So if you go a little bit less than that, then might still be a little bit ambitious. I also wanted to, since we were talking about running backs, North said he wants Jadarian Price. I think we would all be okay with Jadarian Price. I don't think he's going to be there at 49.
Well, and I think Norcius may not have been in here when we were at that pick and we talked about it. I do like Jadarian Price, Norcius. My biggest problem and the reason I didn't pick him and why I tried to aim for to be able to try to get Mike Washington instead is that I like everything about Jadarian Price, except we don't know if he can pass block. And it's a thing where if we don't know if he can pass block, then I kind of want like a receiving back that brings more like a running and receiving skill set. And I know Mike Washington has that and he's a burner. If I knew that Jadarian Price could run block, I probably would have just taken him in round 2 without a thought.
Yeah, and I think that's really just the conundrum. Even if Jadarian Price, if you say that, hey, these are the 2 backs that we like the most, just unfortunately, if you don't take them with that second pick or somehow acquire another pick in there, just one.
And he only went one pick before our next pick, so I just barely missed out on Washington.
Right. Yeah, that's just that's the difference of changing the way that you were hoping to draft.
Right.
So but still, that's why I love doing this, because you got put in that scenario and the way that you figured out the rest of your draft and stuff like that. Again, I was really excited with, especially in round 5, some of the moves that you made. I absolutely loved. I like. You went Demings, Betchner, Prysock, Caldwell, Koziel. I think those are home run, really good picks in those slots that you were in.
Tanner Koziel is also a high school teammate with my guy, JJ McCarthy. So there's already some chemistry there.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And it'll be interesting, just kind of watching, what the Vikings do in those same situations, and if they can pull off some good moves like Eric just did for us now on the live stream. So appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and remove that, pull us right back in. And guys, we're sitting at almost 11 o'clock here Central Time, so I think it's about time to wrap this sucker up. Hey, if you're not already following us on Vikings Playbook on X and YouTube, it's Viking Playbook. And then if you want to go ahead and follow us again on Facebook, Instagram, and also make sure that you check us out on TikTok. Definitely appreciate it, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Again, this is Vikings Playbook. Your Sunday starts here. We had Eric come in and do some mock drafts, and my first time meeting Eric, he did a fantastic job and actually loved the analysis from my first time meeting him. I hope I can have you on again, Eric. Yeah, and man, as always, Brev, it's always awesome to bring you on here, and the energy with the 3 of us I thought was awesome. And hope we can do this again soon.
Yeah, we will.
I'm happy to jump on and talk about future stuff with you, man. I'm open to it.
Awesome. And Brev, we'll have to get together again soon for your pod again too. And if you guys haven't already, and just in case you need it again, follow Brev on social media. Again, Social Network. He's writing for Heavy.com, Purple PTSD as well too. Brebman Bain, Vikes Now, and Social Network. Make sure that you're following him. And that's all we have for tonight's stream. So for myself, Steve Hoikkala, Brev, and Eric, this has been the Vikings Playbook. Again, your Sunday starts here. And until next time, guys, Skol Vikings out here.
Later.